All right, welcome back to the National Underwater Robotics Challenge. We are ready to get started with our next match. Here we see our team number 2. I'm calling this robot number 2. For the movie Spare Parts, every underwater robot builder was required to build 2 of the same robot. So this robot would have represented a fictional Cornell. So we're calling this Cornell number 2, or not Cornell, or perhaps any other name you'd like to call it, as long as it's not late for dinner. They will not be going inside the pyramid, I've been informed, as the robot will get stuck. It's a little bit too wide. Unlike many of the other machines we have seen so far today, and we will see throughout the rest of the day, this one was designed as a movie prop, not to actually complete a challenge. Meaning it is capable of moving underwater, but it is not purpose-built for this event. Which is why we see it moving very, very slowly and tentatively towards the back of the pyramid. As always, we start with the lights off. Lights are off for this match so far. Now, this is truly a national competition. We have multiple states represented, as we are seeing a machine from Washington. Now, our Cornell number 2, our number 2 machine, going for the treasure chest and opening it up, revealing the secret code to enter the pyramid. Now, of course, there are still points for gaining access to the pyramid, even though this machine does not plan on going inside. We see them opening their gripper very carefully, aiming for one of the weights there on the ground, at the very least to move it off the pedestal. It is 10 points if it's moved from the starting position, meaning that there are still points to be gained, and with them not planning on going inside the pyramid, there are still plenty of points possible. Using the gripper mechanism to grab the stem rather than the PVC ring available. And they are dragging it off the platform, and I believe it is now clear of the platform from my views here. That is 10 points for the team. They are releasing their claw, trying to disentangle themselves, and they are successful. Of course, right now we are seeing a view of the video feed from the robot. Every team is required to have a live video feed coming up to the surface. Given that the operators are not allowed to look in the pool behind them, this is also the only way the robot operator may know what the robot is doing. There are other underwater robotics competitions where it is all autonomously done. But here, the drivers have teleoperated control. Our ROV is moving towards the push buttons as well, trying to enter in that secret code. Looks like it is carefully lining up as we see it moving forward. Every robot has a light on it as well. That is 1 button pressed. There are 3 needed to open the pyramid. Must be pressed in the correct order. And we're going for number 2, going number 2 here for that second button, and we are pressed as well. And number 3. Perfect. Moving back towards the opening, will we see it start to open, and the door moving upwards as well. The robot opting to go towards the back of the pyramid. Once again, they do not plan on entering the pyramid, as the form factor of the machine will not fit through and cannot be easily modified to do so. The ROV using its cameras to aim towards the back of the pyramid as well, as we see it making the careful trek around towards the measurement flags. And they are lining up, moving towards that lever. Carefully, tentatively moving downwards. Once again, the view you see on screen is all that the operator could see, just the robot view. We have the luxury of having other points of view to watch from, but the operator must use only the information available from the machine itself. It is moving slowly down towards the levers we see on screen. It needs to make sure it engages it fully. And it looks like we are locked in place. Lights may come on now. And let there be light. Bot moving around, making the trek back towards the weight, trying to knock it off of the pedestal it's on. We do have many machines represented here from the Spare Parts movie. Of course, this is also an underwater robotics competition, and many of the folks who are involved in that original film and in the story behind it are here helping out with this event. Despite being a landlocked state, we are still running excellent underwater machines. Unfortunately, knocking the weight over as we see from that point of view. Carefully trying to line it up again on the platform using the gripper mechanism to knock it forward. Now that pedestal is not fixed to the bottom of the pool, so they have to be careful to try to move it from its starting position. This robot does not have as many thrusters as we saw from machines like the typewriter repairman, meaning they move a lot slower in the water. It's using those available on the side of the robot that help it rotate as well as move side to side and front to back. Having the angled thrusters as well, taking advantage of the different degrees of freedom available. They are about 7 minutes into their run. Still 23 minutes left. There is a bonus for finishing early or for completing the tasks that you want to early as well, so teams have to weigh that potential with the potential points available to them. Now, with this robot not going inside the pyramid, that is 60 points from the library, 60 points from the relic, and more from measuring the pressure level as well that are not available to it. Looks like they are carefully lining up. They're almost off the pedestal with that weight. They're slow but steady efforts making a big difference to the performance. We are almost free of the platform, just an inch or so away from freeing the weight from its pedestal. That is a relic fragment. We can see the ancient text written on the side. Our robot carefully trying to study it. At the very least, trying to get pictures of it if they cannot retrieve it to the surface. And bumping it off the pedestal, it's almost free, still hanging on by a smidge. And we are carefully almost off. Slow and steady wins the race here. Now, of course, they received points for entering that access code earlier, 20 so far. 20 from the chest, 20 for entering it. 20 other points for lighting up the area. Now, removing them from the starting location is 10 points each, so a very important 10 points there available to the robot. They are resurfacing, it appears, or going for another one of the weights. Looks like they can see it moved off of the platform, just confirming everything is scored correctly. Do we see the machine moving towards the surface? We see them still try to go in the pyramid. Looks like they're returning towards their starting position. They may not make another attempt at the entrance. We shall see what happens here. I don't see someone diving down to retrieve it yet. Monitoring what the robot's going to do. It's moving towards that entrance to the pyramid. Still plenty of potential. Still plenty of time ahead of it. Looking at about 20 minutes left in the mission time. They're thinking about going down the entrance of the pyramid. Now, if I remember correctly, I believe there's only 1 inch of clearance available, and given that the sides of the pyramid are rather flexible, this could be quite the adventure for our number 2 machine. Lining up very carefully with all the time available to him, and it is 10 points for entering the ruins. The ruins is this tunnel, of course, and the pyramid. And they are caught up a little bit on the edge, it looks like. Now, of course, our drivers cannot hear any of my commentary nor see any of the extra video. We are only seeing the position from the robot, but I can see we are in the entryway. The robot has carefully maneuvered itself through the entryway. They are in the pyramid. Now, they have chosen to drop their entire tether in the pool. They don't have anyone managing the tether for this robot. Both the driver and the operator are at the table. So tangling is absolutely a possibility here. And given their control scheme with the thrusters put at an angle based on where they're entering the ruins, it is very, very, very tricky for them to maneuver through because the robot keeps swinging side to side, as you see there in the view. Looks like possibly a tether is caught up there on the edge of the pyramid. No, not quite. They're now in the ruins. Very possible. I see those linkages in the tether we can see from the camera view may have been caught up on the ruins entrance. The 2 operators of the machine collaborating, trying to understand what their best course of action can do. It looks like they're still several feet from the main body of the pyramid, possibly with the tether collected. They are moving back out of the tunnels we can see from the view. Getting those 10 points from entering the tunnel as well. Spinning backwards, looks like they might be caught up a little bit on the entrance. Now, the camera cannot see much of what's going on, so the operators are resorting to having to wiggle the robot around, making sure to clear themselves of any obstacles. And you can see from our point of view, looking down the tunnel, just from the point of view of the pyramid, that is what we are looking at here. We are inside the pyramid looking at the machine. Looks like they seem to be caught up a little bit there. But they're slowly moving backwards towards the entrance, trying to escape. Now, they don't have the time pressure of the ruins closing. They do have some of the time pressure, though, as they're looking at about 17 minutes left in their mission. Looks like they are almost free of the pyramid. Caught at a bit of an angle, getting free, though. One of their thrusters has escaped. They are flying blind when it comes to escaping the pyramid, of course, as they are backing out of it. Just close, and if they move it full back, they may be able to escape. They're turning slightly, trying to turn themselves around there in the entrance. Oh, are they getting a little caught up on something? Hopefully they're not wedging themselves there in the pyramid, turning off and on their lights. As we see looks like they are stuck there at a bit of an angle. Moving forward, the driver's trying to clear that machine from the pyramid. They've turned completely around, trying to take advantage of their new position to free themselves. Unfortunately, the view on their camera isn't quite enough to really see what they're caught up on. These ruins are tricky, made of some unknown material we haven't explored yet here in Atlantis, but that is some of the excitement that these machines get to view. Looks like we are almost free of the pyramid. They are escaping, And the robot is free as well, returning back to the surface. We see the headlights of the machine turning around. Uh-oh, they're getting caught on the door, the entryway, making sure that they are clear of it. Moving back towards the operator who may be retrieving them, or will we see other points attempts as we move forward? Having the thrusters at an angle means that the machine moves much slower when it comes to the cardinal directions, but they have much more granular control when it comes to turning the robot around. The machine appears to be heading back down towards the pyramid, seeing if they can accomplish as many tasks as possible. Moving slowly, looking at what points are available to them. They are discussing. Looks like the drive team is strategizing their next course of action. Now, there are some measurement tasks possible, and possibly another weight to move as well there in the back. Now, that might be your heaviest. Or are they going for, they're going for the lighter weight, seeing if they can retrieve it to the surface. Taking advantage of the extra time available to them for not going into the pyramid. They are lining up with their gripping mechanism there onto the weight. Oh, and they knock it over. That attempt might be done. They may not be able to recover from there. They're considering their next course of action. Pushing the weight. Trying to maybe tip it back upright. We're seeing from the robot's point of view right now. See our drive team discussing what the next thing to do is as the robot backs away. Will they resurface, or will we see them attempt one more objective before they are done for the moment? You see them backing up, possibly returning to the surface as well. And they are on the surface, almost there, about a foot away. Not sure what their next plan is. They're floating towards the edge of the pool, possibly, or staring down at the objectives available to them. Now, remember, there is a bonus if they finish early. 60 possible points for ending the mission early. Now, I must correct myself from earlier. While there is a 30-minute window available to these teams, they actually only have 20 points available to score as many as possible. This allows us time to reset the environment for the next team, give everyone some breathing room as well, and have reliable start times for everyone. Which means that we only have 1 minute left. 1 minute left for the robot to score as much as they can. Looks like they're just resurfacing so that it does not have to be retrieved by the diver at the end of the match. Looks like they're discussing some last second strategy. Now, they can exceed the mission time limit, But it is a 20-point deduction for exceeding that. Now I need to make sure I have my timing right. Looks like they're moving towards the back of the pool. Maybe, going for that distance measurement there. Looking at those two flags. I suppose a guess is better than nothing for that robot as well. They are now 20 minutes into their session. They will be wrapping things up, I believe, as they decide what measurement they're going for. These are scored. It is 50 points available for getting that distance. We've seen the other teams do it so far. 50 points available, and points are subtracted from those possible 50 based on how far off their guess is. Now, this is the guess of the human players rather than the bot itself. Looks like they are returning their machine towards the surface as their time winds down. And that is a controller down for the team. The machine has returned to the edge of the pool and they are retrieving it. Great work to our team so far. That was our third run of the day. We have two more left, two more runs left for tonight. Trying to score as many points as possible. The last two, next up will be a robot named Kevin. And our next team is Electric Wave, a pre-high school team. They have been working hard all day to make sure their robot is ready to go, and I'm excited to see what happens next.